Hi Sports Stats, this is Natalie and Alan from the Bristol in the UK. We thought we would give you an overview of the Heineken Cup that we're enjoying up here. So we thought with the format we'd go with, we'd give you an overview of how the tournament runs and just a little bit of our opinions of the games so far.
Yeah, and then before we carry on, everyone should go and have a look at Sportstats.co.za and catch up with the guys, check out their YouTube channel and just basically give them some feedback, anything they can work on. And that applies to us as well, up here in Bristol. Okay, so let's start off. The Heineken Cup, the South African guys, we probably don't know too much about it. I think one of the important things to bear in mind with this tournament for us is that hopefully, with the URC the way it is now, it's a tournament we can get into at a later date. And that's pretty promising. Very tough competition to win. So what we're going to do is give you a breakdown of the games coming up this weekend, because this is the only weekend that's running. Next week it's back to Premiership and then back to the URC. So our views, opinions on it, and we'll give you a few games which we would think would be highlights and a couple of players we think you should keep your eye on.
And not to mention some controversial decision making from the referee, which we obviously like to talk about.
We'll try our best not to mention the referees, because you guys seem to have that on lock. That's Sports Stats. Okay, so the URC basically is all the teams we know. South Africa have just come into it. So we've got the teams from Wales, Ireland, Italy, Scotland, and South Africa. The Heineken Cup is made up of 24 teams, and it's the top 8 teams from England, the top 8 teams from France, and the top 8 teams from the URC, as it's now called. So 24 teams split into 2 groups. So very, very tough tournament to win. Okay, so you imagine the top 8 teams. Thank goodness we're not playing them this year, because the Irish teams are doing really, really well. The top 8 teams from each pool, Pool A and Pool B, go through to a second round, which is basically a home and away format. So then it's basically they add up all the scores through the 2 games, and then you go through to the quarters, semis, and then a final. So an interesting format. We just have to see how we go. The groups have been split up into 4 groups of 4, so 12, 3 groups in each pool, but we'll leave that for now. We're just going to focus on games coming up this weekend. Okay, so starting off, the first game tomorrow, the first couple of games we've got tomorrow are Montpelier against Leinster.
So that's been called off due to COVID. So Montpellier are going to get a 28-0 advantage, that one. So, brilliant. Thanks, COVID, for ruining our rugby again. And then also...
So they're going to get a 5-point victory with a bonus point. We're probably used to that from the Super 12. And then the second game is going to be Ulster against Northampton, which should be a pretty good game.
So that's 8 o'clock kickoff here. So you guys will be able to tune in at 10.
Yeah. Congratulations to Connell Scottson, big Lions fan here. Scored his first European try over the weekend, having just come from the Lions. So congratulations on that. So well done. The second group of games we have on Saturday are the Harlequins against Cardiff. So another URC team playing a very good Premiership team. They're top of the log at the moment. Very, very difficult to beat. I think they may be second, actually. I think Leicester are leading at the moment.
I can't remember.
We'll come back next week and we'll give you an update on that. Bath against La Rochelle. So we've got Dylan Lades and Raymond Rule playing for La Rochelle. So a couple of South Africans playing there as well. Sale against Claremont. That's one of our teams in the Premiership. Big
Heavy
fan.
South African team players. We love watching Sale.
We love watching Sale. They were so good last season. This season they're just
Not
struggling
so
a little
much.
bit, so not so much. So then we've got Racing against Ospreys, Glasgow against Exeter. Very tough team, Exeter. And finally on Saturday we've got Munster against Castro. Castros, Munster obviously really, really doing well at the moment, but in the last game they dominated and they only had like half their team available due to COVID again. So the COVID's really messing up our things a little bit. So hopefully we can get that all done and dusted and get back to proper rugby as we know it. On Sunday we have Leicester against Connacht. I'm pretty sure Leicester are actually top and not Harlequins, but unbeaten in the Premier League, in the Premiership, or they may have lost one game. Scarlets against Bordeaux. Joseph Dweber plays for Bordeaux, and there's a couple more South Africans there. Toulouse against Wasps, so we've got Earburn and Cheslin Colby playing for them. And then finally Stade Francais against Bristol. So being in Bristol, we were season ticket holders last year before COVID hit. We used to go to the games. Beautiful stadium.
Amazing stadium.
Lovely style of play, and they're really working on something at Bristol. And we know that Ellis Genge has just moved from Leicester to Bristol, so that's going to be a real plus for them.
Yeah, and Carl Sinclair's on as well.
That's right, yeah. So they look pretty strong. So it should be pretty good to watch them play in Bristol. So hopefully Sale and Bristol can get off the bottom of the Premiership log, which is where they are at the moment.
I think what's really fun about this format is the weekend is just completely packed full of rugby. So you go from game to game to game, and it's it's really high energy, and even more fun to slate all the jerseys as well. But we'll come back to that in a minute because honestly, horrific.
At some point we will post up. We'll rank all the jerseys for you guys and give you a rundown because these teams all have European jerseys. In addition to their home and away game jerseys for the Premiership. So we'll give you a breakdown of what Natalie thinks the best and the worst jerseys are. We have
what the worst one
we
is
have
right
we
now.
have a clear favourite on the worst jersey at the moment, but we'll keep that in lock for the moment. We'll surprise you, see if you guys can come up with better suggestions. So the way that the tables are ranked at the moment, in Pool A, Exeter are top, Racing, Leinster, all on 5 points. Big wins for them over the weekend, last week. And then followed by Sale, had a very bit of a squeaky win against Ospreys. They started out really good, and then they gave away 18 penalties in the game, which is the most by a mile. So they need to keep an eye on that. As we know, some of these Northern Hemisphere referees love to blow the whistle, so that's an issue that they need to, or maybe us South
That was a
Africans.
difficult game to watch. That
The
was
first
hard.
half
The first half was great.
The second half was a bit difficult. And then we've got La Rochelle in 5th position, Ulster 6th, both on 4 points, along with Sale, so wins. And then we've got the teams that lost with a bonus point were Claremont and Glasgow. And then the teams that had bad losses were Ospreys, Bath, Northampton, and Montpelier, which is a bit of a surprise considering the team they have. I think a lot of teams rest their best players in the initial weeks, but for the French teams, it seems to be a case of they seem to do really well at home and they struggle away.
And then in Pool B, we've got Toulouse, Bristol, Connacht, Munster, all heading at the top of the table with 5 points. And then we've got Leicester, Harlequins, Castro, Bordeaux on 1 point.
Yeah, because they lost with a bonus point. Just to note that Bristol won because Scarlets weren't able to field any players. They only had 14 players after the COVID coming back from South Africa.
Oh yeah, good point.
They've got an easy win there, and there's going to be a couple more of those wins as we go on.
Definitely.
And then the teams that didn't win were Wasps, where Hougaard plays now. Francois Hougaard, I don't think he's had much game time at the moment.
No.
Stade Francais, Scarlets, and Cardiff. Finishing up. So
Cardiff, they had no players, did they? They had, they had, I think, a janitor, a bank manager. So they had to pull together a team of semi-pros as well. So, fair play for coming along and trying to put a game together.
And I think they were playing one of the most difficult teams as well. I can't remember exactly who they were playing, but I feel like they were playing Munster. I think that might be who they were playing.
I don't remember actually. So much rugby this weekend.
Yeah, so on Sunday evening we'll come back with a bit of a review of what we noticed over the weekend. So a couple of talking points that we noted and we feel that might be of interest to you guys down there is going from the URC teams we know we need to watch, and obviously the Irish teams. Leinster are topping the tries with 6 tries at the moment, which is pretty worrying. And then Leinster, Racing are both on 45 points for the games. And then we have Connacht in 5th position with 36 points. So scoring is a problem for the South African teams at the moment. So hopefully we can get that on lock and improve in that area. We need to score more points and we need to be a lot more clinical. The 2 stats that I think we noticed, which were a bit surprising, was that Ospreys had 23 lineouts in their game, considering they lost quite badly. That was pretty surprising. So they need to work on their lineouts and their scrums, although we know that the Welsh teams are a lot better when they're playing in the Six Nations, like actually the international team, because they are struggling a bit at the moment. And then Sale with
Bleeding all
their
those penalties.
18 penalties given away in that game.
Although, on the flip side, you could say their defence was solid because they didn't give away too many points in that half, to be fair.
No.
So, I think, yeah.
But maybe they were lucky that they were playing Ospreys. So the defence must be pretty good.
Good point.
The things that we noticed, which were probably talking points, obviously your players of the week was pretty good behind those packs, was Finn Russell and Anton Dupont, Player of the Year. Congratulations there as a South African supporter. Yeah. He's good. We'll give him his good, but there could have been a few more nominees from the Southern Hemisphere who could have, a couple considering.
not one.
Yeah, considering what the All Blacks and the South Africans had to go through to win what we had to win, that was quite a big surprise. And
but you can't knock Finn Russell. He's playing some amazing rugby at the moment, and he's entertaining. He's fun to watch, and he certainly lights up the field as well. So.
I can't remember the name of the 8th man who played for Montpelier, but he scored 3 tries, and then I know there was Richie Gray scored 3 tries as well, playing for, I think it was Edinburgh, or I can't remember which team it was now, but so good forward tries. So those two were the standout forwards, and like I've already stated, Carlos Scorson for Northampton played a really good game. As we get better at this video, if you guys want to see us again, we'll give you a better breakdown of which players played really well. So, I mean, overall, big weekend of rugby coming. It's quite good to watch. What are your opinions on the views?
Yeah, I think, it's the weekend is packed full of rugby. So you literally go from one game into the next. And, we're struggling to remember who played who and what the outcome was. But it's definitely entertaining. If you guys get to have a look at any of the clips, go on YouTube, have a little
BT
look.
Sport, they're showing all the games. And what's really good about them is they show all the highlights and stuff of the games as well.
Yeah,
so
definitely. And I think, it's aspirational as well. So for being in the URC, if, in the next couple of years that we can sort of end up in the top 8 and get some SA teams, it's really going to raise the profile and obviously hopefully push the standard of rugby and just get us used to playing up in the Northern Hemisphere with some really strong teams. A lot of our guys obviously coming abroad anyway, but it's really interesting to have the opportunity to see them all playing these different high caliber teams. So we're going to have an awesome weekend of rugby, and we hope you do too.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be back on Sunday with a breakdown of what happened over this weekend. Like I said, we might have a surprise tidbit for you with regards to the jersey of the week or not, player of the week, and that kind of thing. But like we said, have a look at Sportstats.co.za.
Who was playing in the brown? Who had the god-awful kit?
Was that
Ospreys. Google Ospreys.
European kit. Yeah.
I promise you it's hideous.
But it's not as bad as the other French team we saw.
Clement.
That's definitely not the best. And so far we have 2 clear front runners for the Clement European jersey with the sponsors and the Ospreys jersey with the
orange socks
and the
brown.
Green. Yeah, we'll maybe we'll look at getting some of those jerseys chucked up on here as well. But anyway, thanks for watching this video. I'm sure you've got better things to do on your Friday evening, Thursday evening.
So. Really,
but not
really
if you're watching the
so.
rugby. Probably, but we'll be seeing you again hopefully. And like I said, go and look at the Sportstats.co.za and let us know if you want to see what you want the guys to see more of. Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.